all steps of the way Saturday, and Austin Queen got there towards the end of the day. Adamar Caligaro and Scott Falcone roll back on row 3. Anthony Stifler, Miguel Mir, Scott Carapolati, Paul Montopoli. Here they come towards us on the front straightaway. KA Masters Pre-Final action. Put it on the board. We're ready to go from Salem, Ohio. 11 minutes plus 2 laps on the timer. John Bonanno on the right, Chris Horan on the left. Let's go racing for the first time here on Sunday. All good as they rock around that opening sector here, Bradley. This looks like a pretty tame start, and it's definitely gone good in the way of John Bonanno. He leads Kutcher there in the red cart. Right behind him, Horan from second, slotted into third safely. Then it's Austin Queen back in the fourth spot behind him. Fifth off the bat with a good jump as well. Looks to be Scott Falcone.
Yeah, Scott Falcone there going through and looking like he is going to be feeling good in fifth there. But up front, as you said, Bonanno ahead of Kutcher. Kutcher up into second. Expect Horan and Kutcher to battle back and forth. Bonanno is going to have to settle in and really just look ahead. Not look behind, but look ahead. But watch out for Kutcher, who will be looking for moves. A lot of moves in some places we didn't expect yesterday. And I'll tell you right now, every one of these drivers were taking notes of what different classes were doing, where passes could be found, where they couldn't be found, and they are ready to go today. Watch turn 8, watch turn 11. That was places that drivers could really slot in and make passes, and I would imagine it'll be more of the same today here as Bonanno continues to lead.
I think so as well. I think turn 11's been one of the most unexpected passing opportunities. We didn't see a lot of moves there really in the practice sessions, and it's relatively easy to protect, or at least it was earlier in the weekend before the rubber got laid down and people started carrying more speed through that back sweeper. But now, with how they're having to dime in the corner and really set up for it, carrying more speed on a good lap. Oh no, Chris Horan, big lockup, big wide moment. Same for Caligaro, and out of third, Chris Horan is still off the road, trying to get back on. He will rejoin at the tail of the field, and disaster strikes the 224.
Not at all what Chris Horan would want there. It looked like just trying to set something up through 8, and 8 has that slight kink to the right before the 180 degrees plus back to the left, and I think that when he tried to send things a little bit wider, the kart just knocked out. Unsure if there was contact there with anything, but that was a big moment here as we get a replay, and it doesn't look like contact. It almost looks like just maybe locking the brakes up, wanted to try to switch back into 8. It's really hard to say, but definitely not what he wanted there. No contact being confirmed as we go through, but that is going to really open things up for Bonanno and Kutcher up front as Austin Queen will try to have a Queen-like run here for third, is right there in the position, and let's see if there's any royalty to be found for Austin Queen.
Yeah, this is the highest we've seen him run this weekend, and Andy Kutcher almost wants to go a spot higher himself. That was a nice look down the inside for the lead. Didn't quite pan out there. He'll tuck back in, but he is right on the heels of John Bonanno. So at any point, he could try to pull the pin and go for that top spot. Now he'll go to the outside as Bonanno covers low and around the outside. Andy Kutcher to the lead. First power move on the outside going into turn number 11. Impressive stuff.
Look at the wheel hop there coming through 14-15 on that rear right, coming up almost to his elbow level as he's coming through and around. You see Bonanno look over the right shoulder now, trying to gauge where Austin Queen is. Scott Falcone has fallen well out of this group, over a second back now as the top 3 have managed a breakaway. Let's see if the top 2 can break away from Austin Queen going through. You can see Kutcher taking a slightly different line, going defensive, and that is the 202 kart that is very slow. That is Stanisco, who is very, very slow coming out of the final corner, but it looks like still rolling, some dust up. So I'm guessing that was a moment through 14-15. But as we continue through, Kutcher defending into 8 against Bonanno, and we'll see, is there a response in turn 11?
Yeah, he's got plenty of time, so I don't think he'll be too over-eager to try and make something happen there, but you never quite know. If he feels like he can break away, he'll want to go back by him. But I think at this point, if you're John Bonanno, see what you can find behind Andy Kutcher. You know, you haven't really had a whole lot of laps following that red speed this weekend, and obviously probably not too much yet today. So take your time. You've got plenty of it. No need to rush it, and learn and see if there's anywhere you may be stronger or weaker in comparison. What was the difference that made him feel so confident to go by you earlier on in this run? So that's what will probably be the case for the next lap or so. We'll check in with them when we can. Let's check in with these midfield battles on screen. So you've got Falcone right there in front of his teammate in Miguel Mir. Right behind on the QG3 karting 269 is going to be Anthony Stifler. Paul Montopoli runs on the best kart. And then behind him, Adamar Caligaro has rebounded from his moment earlier. And, oh, there you go. A lap behind and back out front for John Bonanno. Obviously, he feels like he may be a little bit stronger than Kutcher. And so he's going to go back around him and see if he can't start to open the gap up.
Kutcher's very wise, I will tell you that from my experience with him at MCC and kind of watching him run around that track many a time. Him and his brother Chris, very often the dominant front of the field at MCC, and they tend very often to sort of swap back and forth as they see fit if they feel they can leapfrog ahead and be faster there. Now Kutcher, you can also see a wiggle as Bonanno with a big wiggle there out of 16, and now looks over the left shoulder, knows that he lost some speed, and Kutcher will close that gap across the line, less than a quarter of a kart length there as they come through almost bumper to bumper through 2, 3, 4 we go, and it really just trying to feel things through, and Kutcher will respond at some point. But this pre-final being 11 minutes plus 2 laps. Yesterday, the heats were only 7 minutes. You've got 4 extra minutes to run here that you have to go through, and you've got to be thinking about that, because right now, you would be basically counting down laps to go. Today, 4 more minutes and some changes. The 204 with a great dive. Caligaro with a great dive down the inside.
Yeah, and it got a little hairy there at the moment, too. I think he kind of underestimated the lack of grip down the inside into 8, or just how early that Anthony Stifler was going to be getting onto the binders going down that straightaway. And he was all out of shape, locking the rears up left and right, but made it through with no contact. A good tip of the cap there to Montopoli to give room as well to let him by. And let's see if he tries to go right here or in a moment on Stifler. Remember, Adamar Caligaro, he rolled off a little bit better than this. He started 5th, and while we watched, of course, the Magic Kart 224 machine go way to the outside earlier on in this session down at turn 8, Caligaro did as well. And your update on Haran of where he runs, there he is right there with the black bumper and the all-black suit. He's back up to 12th. He should be able to get the next couple in front of him at the pace that he's running. I don't think his progress will get much higher than maybe 8th by the end, but never say never. There's still plenty of laps to go as we're right around the halfway marker in this session. And Caligaro is going to make one up himself here as we've got an issue for Junaid Dean. Junaid has gone around. This is turn number 2-3, consistent trouble spot. It's caught a lot of drivers out, and it's caught our first one of the race sessions in race session number 1 here on Sunday.
Yeah, and as we saw the thumbs up there, back going, and now we check back in with some battles up front as they go along. That 204 of Caligaro still trying to hold on there and go through and around. We keep these races great and alive. Chris Horan just trying to find any sort of additional time that can be found, continuing to try to power that kart back up, and that 224 just really sort of stuck in position right now, honestly, in the back of this group of 4. Definitely would think that Chris Horan in that Magic Kart would be able to push a little bit further and get past the 297 of Nice, the 206 of Carapaldi, and just not able to at the moment. Just looking, you can see slightly different lines, not able to go. We check in with Falcone and Mir up front, the 222 and the 299 and the 277 kart coming through 4th and 5th and looking over the shoulder. They are just sort of stuck together. Caligaro in the mix as well, but there's a slightly wide move from Falcone as Mir will try to look through around to the inside and continue on through turns 9, 10, 11 and follow through, going up the hill, down the hill, and continuing to keep a move on as we have a kart off.
Montopoli out of the top 10. Paul Montopoli was 8th, and he's gone off. This looks to be about turn number 9. So a big moment for Paul Montopoli, and the best kart into the wall, buried there off the racetrack. This is bad news for him, and an unfortunate moment that will see him not see the checkers with 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go.
Montopoli is going to be very, very frustrated there, but that is the nature here. You have a pre-final. We have a final coming up. He'll just have to work harder in the final and keep things going. Up front here, Bonanno has managed to pull out 0.8 of a second the gap to Kutcher and will continue to do so and try to continue to find time. They've both ran away, though, from Austin Queen. You can see the third-place Kart there well out of the mix. And then Falcone still trying to hold off the teammate behind of Mir and just looking through Caligaro. Also still looking to have a pass here. This group of three in the battle for fourth place, just continuing to just look over the shoulder, look ahead. What do you do? When do you set a move up? Is it turn 11? It's not this time, but that is a wide move from the 277, and Caligaro will sneak through for fifth. Now it's the charge for fourth.
This time by, it should be probably 3 to go. It will be kind of on the border. Whether or not they get another one afterwards, we'll keep tabs on it all as the field rockets around for another time by the loop. This is Falcone starting to slip back a little bit towards Caligaro. This is a point in the session here that is kind of starting to become no man's land for many. And that's because, again, we are watching this session go past practice length, past the heat race length, and obviously past qualifying length. We haven't really gotten a lengthy run to see what the tire deg might be on a track with this many high-speed, long corners, and now we have a little bit of that data. John Bonanno is running a good chunk slower than his original best time, and the same for everyone else for the most part. Now, Bonanno, in his case, his purple time at a 66.96, compared to his 67.6 last time, might be partly just conservation mode. He's built the gap to Andy Kutcher of 0.7. That's a comfortable margin. He can manage it from there, but still, even his best time is 0.7 off of his overall best. So while he's been half a second off and cruising from his best time of the session, compared to new tires yesterday, and you mentioned earlier some of the drivers that said there was a ton of grip out there this morning. It's probably still pretty grippy, but the tires are not there at this point of the weekend. This is heat cycle number 4 for the KA Masters. They've run qualifying, they've run 2 heats, now they're on the pre-final. The same set of tires will be what they race on in the main event later today, and I don't think either of the 2 tracks we've visited so far this year, Charlotte Motor Speedway with the Queen City Gambit and Newcastle, as we see this battle rage on once again, Caligaro versus Queen. This is with Falcone in line, all the fight for third, but we haven't had this many high-speed, high-grip corners. Newcastle has some Rhino liner, but for the most part, the turns there are pretty quick, and it's a lot more instant straight line. You don't have anything like this here, a long sweeping corner with this much speed. And while at Trackhouse Motorplex for the night fight, we do have a long corner like that at turn number 4, but it's banked. That corner seems to be more off camber than in camber. So I think we're going to see more deg at this facility than any other venue that any of these drivers have run yet this year. And you combine that with the fact that the Stars format for the KA, Swift, Micro Swift classes all keep them on the same set for 5 official sessions. That'll be a big, big talking point, especially later in the main event. Obviously, right now, we're seeing lap times differ, and the gap close up a bit here for the lead on this final lap. I don't know if it'll be enough for Kutcher to make something happen. He did get a good toe, though.
He did get a good toe here, still looking through turn 8. And, as you said, Xander, it's the off camber that I think really is making this track so difficult. Long sweeping off camber corners that are just ripping through tires. And when you're running, I think at the end of the day, we'll see probably 2 seconds a lap slower from our front runners of Bonanno and Kutcher. And that is such a hard thing to manage. Even, as you said, and as I heard from the drivers, the track was grippy this morning. It's such a different feeling as Bonanno looks over the shoulder, doesn't need to worry, comes through, hand up, and will win here the KA Masters Pre-Final with Andy Kutcher there in second, Adamar Caligaro in third, and Scott Falcone will get past for fourth, as fifth place will be Austin Queen. Sixth place there will be Stifler, and Meyer will be in P7, Cara Pilati in P8, Kozak and Huron, your top 10 here today as they continue to come across the line. Kozak and Huron finishing out the top 10, 23 karts in total taking on this run.
Only 1 penalty so far has been sent to potential review, and I believe it may be in the process of being confirmed, and it looks like it might be headed the way of Adamar Caligaro in the 204. I don't know what the contact might be for specifically. third across the line, but the officials are already hard at work with the video camera system, checking in to everything here today. For now, though, the unofficial results as they cross the line, all good for John Bonanno and crew.
Well, down here at the number 1 plate, John Bonanno. John, I mean, we're now quite a ways into the heat cycle of these tires. Did it feel any different than yesterday?
Actually felt great. This track gets so much rubber, especially with that Rhino liner. Track felt really good. Kart took about 2 laps to come in, and it's pretty much on rails the rest of the way.
We heard Jordan Muster in the master shifter class kind of mention that in certain instances, as the day gets hotter, the Rhino liner gets more grip. The corners without the Rhino liner actually gets greasier. Did it feel that way this morning?
It's more of an afternoon thing, but yeah, that definitely happens in the afternoon. You also got to remember we're going out on reds. We have all the pro classes right before us on yellows, so you get a little greasy while that wears off.
It's a great point there from John Bonanno. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and on the inverse of that, the pro guys have also mentioned that at events in the past, that when they follow up multiple classes that are running on the red tire, they're kind of having to spend their first laps laying down the yellows. And so here at these events, the Pro Stars drivers, they get the track after the OKN Stars have cleaned it off with MG yellow rubber. But for the OKN Stars, they're following up at MG red class. So another great talking point. Always good to get to chat with some of the veterans of our sport. John Bonanno, another one who has been a great ambassador for karting altogether, but especially this KA Masters field. And I have to say that he's one of many major factors as to why there's a lot of gentleman-like respect amongst the front of the pack and why the numbers have blossomed. 20-plus here this weekend, part of 228 total entries from Quaker City for the Stars Championship Series Earthquake. Micro Swift currently on deck and ready to roll shortly here from Salem, Ohio.
All the way up to the finish line. Who is it going to be? And it's Sean Perez who wins in Crescent.
Ty Fisher wins $1,000 in KA100 Junior.
How about John Bird for TV Kart USA on home soil? They take the win in Amarillo.
Amarillo Kart Complex is now the official distributor for TV Kart in the continental U.S. Become a dealer today.
Champions aren't just born on the kart track. At SimShop, we deliver professional-grade simulators with the best performance-to-price ratio in the industry. Founded by racers who understand what you need, our SimMagic and Moza equipment is powerful enough for the pros, yet affordable for everyone. With unmatched customer support and a thriving community, we're your racing partner. Visit simshop.com today.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today. Yeah. Here we go. Micro Swift action from Salem, Ohio. The Stars Championship Series Earthquake with overcast skies a bit this morning. The sun was out earlier. It's still kind of out, but not nearly the beatdown of the rays that we had all day yesterday. Granted, of course, we had some inclement weather greet us for the final 2 sessions, and the note has been, well, it may visit us again today. Who knows what will happen? But I can tell you one thing, weather aside, you never know what will happen with these young superstars. What a great day of action they had yesterday. Tons of racing all the way through. A scary moment for Dutch Westbrook in heat number 2. Great to see him back here today. He's in good spirits. These kids are always wanting to jump in. You got to hold them back sometimes from wanting to get behind the wheel when they shouldn't. But he's good. He's cleared. Rolls from third behind Brody Stoffel and Lennox Lockhart in the pre-final. Slate Harrell and Dominic Nagel will be your top 5. It's 17 total, and keep your eye on Hudson Howard in the 49 white and blue JHED kart, rolling from the back of the grid. He's had some speed here this weekend, but going to the tail for the pre-final, he'll have his work cut out for him. But with the extra distance, things should be all right for Hudson, as the second-generation superstar is looking to make some moves. His teammate Brody Stoffel has command. We hit the start box, and away we go. Microswift's pre-final is green. Off the bat already, Hudson Howard there at the bottom of the screen was able to pick off 4 of them, it looked like. So a good start here for the 49 car as Brody Stoffel takes the point here over Lennox Lockhart and Slate Harrell. Westbrook's gone to 4th. Side by side here into turn 7. That's going to be a couple of them. One of the Paralins, Enzo Ramos on the inside. And they're going to go nearly 3 wide behind. Side by side for about 5th as well. Liam Francisco makes a move on the 15 of Dominic Nagel. Just ahead of Bo Stowers' Nitro kart. And we have got all 17 rolling safely here halfway through lap 1.
Stoffel there took off very quick and was able to kind of just look away here. The 14 of Lockhart under some pressure into turn 11 from Harrell and Westbrook as they go through, continuing to kind of just find positions where they can settle things in. And you said it best. These micro swifts, you have to hold them back sometimes, but you can, as that's a dive up the inside there from Harrell up into second, as that's a moment off from Harrell, and the 8 has to drop well back. I see a hand going up there as we continue along. That is the 11 of Brody putting the hand up there, I think just kind of motioning, saying, hey, let me back in here into 4th, and we'll continue along as you've got about the top 10 just all together racing through that 4. Stowers again making a pass in an unconventional zone through turn 5.
And all of that to say, look up ahead while the back of the top 10 is pretty tightly packed. Your leader is starting to scoot away. Brody Stoffel's got a hefty gap back to Lennox Lockhart. They're still fighting back here outside the top 5. Harrell on the inside. And the midfield scrum, that second pack, looked like they were about to go 3 wide down to turn number 8. So quite a bit of activity, but not for the top positions right now. And that's bad news, because if 2 karts get together in this class and really work together nicely to push away, they become really tough to track back down, as there was some more contact there between the likes of Harrell, Francisco, and Nagel and the like there through turn 11. But for the moment, it's good up front for second now, and the 2 karts trying to hook up are the 30 and the 14. Dutch Westbrook shoving Lennox Lockhart along. They've got a 1.3 second delta to already try to break into just 2 laps in. What a launch Brody Stoffel has gotten himself here to start today. He definitely had his Wheaties this morning.
Yeah, Stoffel definitely slept good, definitely felt really good here coming in, and is looking really good so far through the pre-final. I mean, 1.3 seconds in 2 laps, that's a significant gain here, but I think also what's helping Stoffel is that everyone else behind is battling. You can see some karts diving one way, diving the other way, thinking about a move there. Katowski very often diving out of line, back into line, out of line, into line. Francisco, Harrell doing the same thing, into line, out of line. They're not just sort of hooking bumper to bumper and going, and I think the best way to explain that is if you watch NASCAR, any super speedway, any restrictor plate track, where Daytona, Talladega, those styles of tracks where the draft is so heavy, so dependent, that is really what Micro Swift needs to do if they want to continue to move forward. They need to just lock in and go, and that is unfortunately not what's happening, because, you know, sometimes it's the thought of, I need the kart ahead, and they don't necessarily always think about. But gap this time over the line down to 1 second from 1.3. I got to wonder, is that a little bit of tire fall off? Is that working together? What is helping bring that through? Because Lockhart and Westbrook seem settled in. Brody's out of line going through, and then looking through, we're back into a little bit better of a line now. So I think things have settled down after the first couple laps here, and they've realized very quickly, hey, get in line and let's move forward. And I have a feeling Stoffel, his time is limited up there with that gap.
Yeah, that's definitely a factor of the draft here, working really well for the 30 and the 14. You talk about NASCAR as we see Liam Francisco going back down the inside. We got Lockhart around. Lennox spins in turn 8. Dutch Westbrook, I had just mentioned, and I guess jinxed it, how good they were shoving along. Lennox's hand in the air and kind of a shrug from the body language tells me that maybe Dutch was staying a bit too close through the corner. Mason Brody was right nearby as well, very close behind them. And he was giving a little maybe love tap there at the apex as Dutch had backed off to give space. But all that work they just had made in the last lap and a half now goes to the wayside. And while we've got the positions gained on screen, how about it? Hudson Howard's up 5, but Lennox Lockhart was up a ton. And I don't know if that was properly correct. He started towards the front, but now he'll drop way down. There it is, down 14 as it properly fixes. So up 6 for Hudson Howard now with a spot off of that attrition. And let's take a look back at it here. From the side angle, yeah, Dutch was just really, really close to him. And I don't know. I don't know if he got a little extra too close off some help or just misjudged it. But a heartbreaker for Lennox. And now it is Westbrook and Brody as the only two with a chance to hunt down Brody Stoffel with a much bigger gap. Now it's up to 1.5 seconds here, halfway through the pre-final. They'll really need to push. Now, before that moment, you talk about NASCAR, I like to look at these kart races in the same really for any kind of pack races. Even Mason Brody puts a little bumper there unintentionally to Westbrook as kind of 3 stages. You have the opening couple of laps where everyone's all together, and it's really kind of pass or be passed and a lot of just either maintain or gain position. But once you get to about lap 3, lap 4, 1 essentially, in that first bit of the race, you never know when the pack is going to split. In this case, it split off of the lead, and the leader got out alone. Sometimes it splits at second, after third, after fourth, or after fifth. So that's why it's so critical to get above that, invisible cut line, because the further back you are, the less control you have of your destiny. If you're in second right now, if you're Dutch Westbrook, Mason Brody, yeah, he can help you, and he could also, turn you around, as we saw with Lennox Lockhart, but you're not you're not vulnerable to a botched pass or moment in front of you that would keep you from getting to Brody Stoffel. He's in the driver's seat here of whether or not we're going to see a fight for the win. So, he's in a good spot. But when you have a pack like this, for example here, Liam Francisco, Jack Gutowski, Enzo Ramos, or back here with Hudson Howard and Dominic Nagel in the 15 there. This is 8th, 9th, and 10th, and then Bo Stowers, as we see there, Hudson's father, Jay, watching along closely in the blue and white JHD colors. Hudson in front of this pack, Dominic second, behind him. There's nothing Bo Stowers can do but just watch at this point. If they have a mistake, it will hurt him as well, and he won't be able to control whether or not that happens or whether they work together and push along. So, yeah, at a certain point, you got to put your ego aside and say, yes, let's push, let's work together. But at others, well, you try to get ahead as much as you can. Bo obviously thinks he'll be better suited to follow Hudson forward, so he goes by Dominic there into 11. That was a nice kind of gotcha moment there because Dominic was more so focused on the 49.
Yeah, Dominic Nagel there, I don't want to call it caught sleeping, but definitely was not thinking about behind, because as we go through and continue this run, you can see all of the drivers here in Micro Swift. We've hit the point of where we haven't been all weekend of our second longest duration run of the weekend here, the 11 minutes plus the 2 laps to go after this. We still have 2.5 minutes left of time session as we continue along here and see all of the karts have very much, kind of went into their couple of packs, and then everyone else is really running through, trying to find time where they can. If you have a friend, keep the friend. If you're Francisco Katowski or Ramos here, you're going to stick together and really try to run through. They would love to work together and move forward, but they've kind of stalled out where they're at here, and the track has really sort of settled into where it's going to be for now, and they are continuing to run through. That 41 of Francisco very quick there, but watch Katowski kind of run a little bit wider into 11 to try to bring it back in, look for the alternate line, and Ramos there as well is in the mix there, going through in that 16, looking for a move somewhere. Stowers is under pressure from Dominic Nagel, the 15 behind, as they have lost touch, it appears, from the rest ahead here by a significant margin.
We lost Hudson Howard?
Seconds.
What happened to the 49? Last time by, he was ahead of those two, and he was working his way up the pack. He hasn't hit the timing loop yet. Something has happened to Hudson Howard, and I don't know where he is currently around the racetrack, but on the other end of the spectrum here, Brody Stoffel has finally got some company up front, and it's right about that time where they would really start to dance. A minute plus 2 laps to go. 3 cars together, and not too far back if things really get out of hand is Slate Harrell in 4th, about 2.5 seconds away. But Dutch Westbrook spent the entire race hunting down the 29. First chance, he's going to take it to the lead for the number 30.
And will the 29 of Stoffel have anything to give back here? Or is Brody going to say, you know what, you spent first way too long, go back to third and just sit back there for a minute here? And Brody looking not able to make a move through 16. Will we have any swings around? No, and coming across the line, it will be Westbrook, the leader here. Under 30 seconds to go. Call it 3 laps to go at this point as we come through. And you can see there Brody looking ahead, definitely looking through. Stoffel will want to set something up again. Westbrook trying to carry as much momentum. Stoffel slightly different line there through turns 5 into turn 6, trying to look for the move here where it can be found. Brody again still settling in, and you see a little bit of a slide there. That's something that I heard this morning a lot in the garage, and we've heard it from all the drivers, is that Rhino liner grabs and then you lose the cart all at the same time, so you end up with a weird tight and loose back and forth here. As you see Westbrook still defending from Stoffel into 8. No move to be found yet, continuing along here, and let's see what happens here as they will officially get the 2 to go when we hit the line.
Yeah, it'll be just about that time. Dutch Westbrook, Brody Stoffel, and Mason Brody, like you said, he didn't want to go, but he could have earlier in the time they caught up to the primary race later. The drivers led the most laps here in the pre-final in Brody Stoffel, but he's been content to just kind of ride and see what these two do. So, with 2 laps to go, double sticks in the air from the head flagman, ready for it. 2 more miles, just shy of left. And in total, 32 turns around this racetrack they've got to navigate. Dutch Westbrook now is showing his hand a little bit, not necessarily in the battle part or defensive driving of any way. I think we may see that, though, coming out of turn 7 to 8. But Brody Stoffel didn't have any notes to go off of where he was maybe stronger or weaker than the rest of the pack because he was out front all day or all session. Now he's going to go back after spending a couple laps behind Dutch. This time into 8, and Mason wants to follow. He can't get there. Dutch Westbrook will hold second.
Mason Brody has been really frustrated there in third, and you can see losing time there as Westbrook back into second, still looking to make the move here on Stoffel as this front 3 have come alive here at the end of the session. As you said, Xander, it's that sort of expand compression moment here, and we're definitely in that late stage coming through around the 29, continuing to hold on there. Stoffel ahead of Westbrook. Westbrook looks aligned. Stoffel goes very defensive. Can Westbrook take advantage of that better run out of 16? No. Head flagman has the white flag out this time by, and here we go. 1 lap to go. Big defense into turn 1 on the inside from Stoffel. Westbrook will look to take advantage into 2. Side by side we go, and the 11 of Mason Brody has broken to second place. Is Mason Brody going to have a last lap charge to the lead?
He's waited, he's stalked his prey, both of them nicely, and now he's in a prime spot for one of the major straightaways coming up here out of turn number 8. Keep an eye still on the back of the screen. The black and red of Slate Harrell is now fading his way into frame. Down the run to 8. Brody following Stoffel. Mason Brody to the bottom, washes out. Westbrook up on the curb, but it broke the momentum. He'll drop back to third still. Brody Stoffel, half a lap to go. Mason Brody high and low. Let's see if he's got anything into 11 final time as we run around here. Going to the back section, Bradley.
Into turn 11, looks a little wide. I thought there was going to be the lunge up the inside. Not enough space, not enough to give there. And we'll continue in. Now watch 4th place. Harrell's gotten in the mix as well. Are we about to have an absolute run to the line? Out of 15 into 16. Down the inside goes Brody. Brody sends it to the inside, goes through. We're drag racing to the line here, going through the bounce of the cart. Who scores it across the line? It's Westbrook over Brody by 0.5 of a second.
What an over-under by Dutch Westbrook. You could see Mason Brody hopping in the seat trying to spike the RPMs as he bogged the motor going that low into the corner. He gets second, but he entered the last turn second, gunning for the lead, and he had it for about 100 feet. What a move on that final turn, and I hope that is a sign of things to come for our sake here. What a great run to the line and a battle at that. The moment we mentioned earlier, he drops back to the outside of row 2 provisionally for their main. Then it'll be Liam Francisco and Enzo Ramos. They closed up towards the end along with Jack Katowski, just too little too late for them when they were battling so much in the middle of the race. and giving up time to the leaders. Bo Stowers, Dominic Nagel. Lennox Lockhart recovers to 10th. Keep in mind that as well, that it was contact between himself and Dutch Westbrook early in this pre-final that sent him around. So that'll have the eye of the officials. Lots to review again for race number 2. They are very active in the Joe Janowski main hub, halfway down the front straightaway right by the timing loop this weekend. We're on the opposite side of the property from them, but we do have comms to them and an ability to see the results, and you can too. Go to linktr.ee/kartchaser. Our link tree has the link to the Stars Series Discord and a direct link to Alpha Timing as well for official live timing and scoring, results, and the schedule for the day. And the schedule tells us, well, exactly what we're seeing. Shifter Master and Shifter Supermaster on grid and ready to go here from Salem, Ohio. The gearbox drivers are set for our first standing start of the day. It was a split decision in the pro classes in terms of who got the whole shot off the line. AJ got it on Moto 1, and Andrew Boydeshow got it in Moto number 2. Pros and cons of that standing start versus the rolling start. The rolling start's a lot easier because you're already up to speed. You're not needing that launch traction of the difference in grip from the clean to the dirty side of the racetrack. You're just looking for the inside line of that first corner, and the pole man's got it, and he's won the fight to turn one almost every single time by a lot, if not by just a little. But in the standing starts, how close they're lined up to the first corner, how sharp that first corner is, it seems to be kind of an even playing field for that front row, Bradley. We've seen the outside driver take advantage of the more rubber laid down on the natural racing groove, get a good launch, be the first one to the apex, and win the whole shot off the line. We've also seen the inside driver with the short distance at turn 1 be able to get just enough position to stay alongside and then clear themselves by the exit.
Yeah, it's a very unique situation to be in here with the standing starts, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know which you'd rather have. I think, again, this kind of goes to, we talk about the setup, we'll talk about tires this afternoon, I'm sure, but I'm going to add standing starts to this one. It's driver's choice, dealer's choice. Do you want inside? Do you want outside? What are you more comfortable with? And really, it all kind of goes down also to reaction time, kind of how do you react with everything to be in a position where you can jump forward? And if you are there on row, the outside of row 1, what is your plan if you're going through? I mean, Jake Fetter is right there and will be looking to have a run. And I will tell you, too, one of the things with it as well is, how does the driver feel about the track in the situation? And what do they feel like they can do? And talking to Ryan Franke right off of his run this morning in warm-ups, the first thing he said to me, I said, hey, how does the track feel, man? Introduced myself and said, how's the track feel here? And he goes, surprisingly grippy for all things considered, and it probably, as long as the weather stays good, is going to stay that way. So, and I will say right now, that extra grip, you want to run through, as Alex has a report there from the pit lane. What do you have for us, Alex?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. I mean, I was on the grid there talking with Matt Machiko, and we were just talking about how the weekend's going for him so far, and he said, listen, I mean, if we figured out what we figured out this weekend for the first 2 rounds, it'd be a much bigger story, a much bigger difference in the results for the first 2 rounds for Matt Machiko. He feels really confident. They found a new baseline for that magic machine for the Masters guys. He feels good. I asked him about the tire wear as well. He said, listen, it's going to be big here for this pre-final, but he said on 4-session old tires, he went the quickest he's ever gone so far this morning in the warm-up. So the tires look to be hanging on pretty well. It's a little bit cooler so far this morning, so look for tire wear to not be as much of a factor potentially in this pre-final for these guys.
Interesting. Again, John Bonanno kind of backs that up with his interview following KA Masters, right? He said, yeah, I mean, we are running a lot of laps. The track's got load, but the track feels as good as it's ever been. It's taken rubber really well. The Rhino liner, yeah, it's going to have rubber kind of clump on top of it, so it's not going to be the that smooth glass, surface, but hardly any racetrack ever is. And with the amount of grip that's already in the surface itself, you don't need as much from fresher tires. One of our camera operators, Willem Tompkins, was mentioning at another racetrack that also had very high grip levels that he would sometimes run scuffs because it didn't matter. But for Shifter Master, will it? Will it not? Let's find out. Pre-final action up and away. Oh my goodness! One driver up and over heavily. That looked like it might have been Luis Quinones in the 621, and it was. The VTM Racing Engines Viral Art Machine has gone completely up and over. He's up and okay. What a moment. Osley Cheek, the third, out as well in the factory kart. Chaos and disaster, and probably the biggest moment we've caught in the race sessions this weekend, right off the bat in Shifter Masters start.
Glad to see everyone up and walking from there. Up front, it was Jordan Musser with the whole shot over Jake Fetter going through. Machiko in third, still running through, or actually in fourth, apologies, as Presti was able to get the advantage and go up into third.
He's got second. That's actually, Machiko fourth, Fetter second, Presti third, you're right. And then back to fifth. Morn Van Talk looks like he might have gotten a good start. Did he get the better of Ryan Frankie? No, he did not. Frankie, Runco. Let's see where the rest of the Supermasters have ended up, because that was mainly where that wreck came from. Van Talk looks like he's got a part of it as well. So his teammate in Canones, Mr. VTM, and Osley Cheek all yet to cross the loop. There's Morn now, 12 seconds back. Look at the replay on the right side of your screen. Oh my goodness, what a cartwheel for Luis Quinones. And I think the good part of it was just the fact that the kart really took the brunt of the impact. He didn't really kind of come out of it until he was already starting to ride along the ground. So talk about a wake-up call here in Ohio.
I don't know if that's the wake-up call I'd want, but again, so glad to see everyone get up and walk away from that, because that was a hard hit there, and not at all what you want to see anyone experience here up front. Battle still continues between the 616 of Musser, the 612 of Fetter, and Presti, the 626, getting in the mix as well, as that magic card of Machiko sits in the back and continues to follow through. And I'll tell you right now, walking around all of the garages this morning and all of the teams, that magic team especially, they were all very, very locked in, getting the karts tuned up, getting everything going, and getting, very ready to run. They have showed up here Sunday ready to go. So watch Machiko here in that one. Anticipate Machiko really here later in this pre-final to get a run going and try to make a fourth to first charge, as right now Musser, Fetter, Presti all holding on here. And I'm curious to see how the tires here in these shifter karts hold out to the end of this session. Right now they are running the fastest laps they've ran, but they're only 2 laps in, so we'll see what happens for the rest of this session.
And for Matt Machiko, he needs that kind of run towards the field here, because for the Pro Masters category, the number 1 plate enters this weekend with a bit of a rough go at round number 2 at Newcastle. Well, they're not fully all up to date. Scott Presti had a phenomenal opening weekend at Charlotte, and then everyone else was kind of a bit of a mixed bag. Jake Fetter was consistent there. He didn't have the best weekend in Indiana either. And Jordan Musser kind of spotting a handful of one-offs, but a great performance to win the King of the Castle. Could still steal the title, even missing out on round number 1 with how dialed in that 616 has been this weekend. And if he can parlay that into a good run in North Carolina here in about 2 months. Machiko, no! More contact in Shifter Masters. Matt Machiko locks the front tires up entering the corner, and then the rears locked as well, and it spun him to the opposite side. He collects Scott Presti, and you can see the instant frustration as he walks away. He still needs to try and get those karts dislodged. Presti's going to see if he can't refire. And, wow, another major crash in Shifter Masters, and we're down to just 2 at the front of the field. And I'm feeling a little bit of a reminiscence of Charlotte Motor Speedway with the Queen City Gambit. In that main event, they wrecked so many times so early on that we were down to, I think, only 5 runners at the finish, if not less. And here, a great angle, another great shot by our camera crew of Machiko into the corner. Looked like a run-of-the-mill pass. And now you can see the frustration on the left side of your screen as he was trying to get it refired. Couldn't do it in time. The leaders are on their way. And now he'll be pulled to the wayside. Hugh Templeman is also pulled in, one of the Supermasters drivers. So 2 of the Magics down for the count. Frank Runco, the only one left going. He's 4th now. Ryan Frankie promoted to 3rd. We're going to have a lot of fast guys now starting at the back of the field for the main. So that'll be interesting. But in terms of the battles themselves on track, well, we've only got 2 really in the hunt in the regular Masters division. And in Super Masters, there is a bit of separation, but at least a closely packed group of 3. Bradley Danoff leads the way there over Lance Lane by about a second, and another second back finds Francisco Vassallo. There goes Frank Runco. He's 4th overall, 4th in the regular Masters. And here's your leader in Super Masters. Bradley Danoff there in the 517. A cool helmet for him, and he's actually a helmet painter as well. He's got a lot of the super cool designs that we've seen already this weekend on a number of the drivers in the paddock and on the grid. And one thing that was really, really cool that he did at the Super Nationals in Vegas last year, he gave away one of his best designs to the winner in the KZ Masters main event there. It was so cool to have that, to have someone step up, give their work of art away, to say that they were not only so proud of it, but to give back to the sport and to put it up as a prize. That class was a ton of fun to watch through the heats. It kind of spread out in the main, but it actually kind of looked a bit like this. Jordan Musser, Jake Fetter, just kind of a game of inches. This is high-speed chess, but in a much different way than the pack racing that we just witnessed with the micros, where you're playing each other in terms of passes and defensive moves and when to kind of pull the trigger, again, like the Super Speedway racing. Here, you're getting more, maybe, again, looking for a NASCAR, even IndyCar comparison, trying to go where the other driver in front of you is not. Part of that, of course, is the little bit of aerodynamics that the bodywork does give at the higher speeds of the shifter classes, the OKN classes. They'll feel even KA a tick, but the draft down the straights kind of makes up for it. But for here as well, you're factoring in how different, even on an individual lap, the groove could be with the ability to kind of go narrow, tighten the corner, go in deeper, harder, park it, and then launch out with a narrow exit versus a wider arc. And you can really see the contrast between these two here. Jordan Musser, a very wide entry into 11. Even here, watch the run into 16. This time, Fetter, he kind of follows Musser's line, but the rear stepped out on him, trying to put the power down coming out of the corner. Through some of the other sectors of the racetrack, like the infield here, you see a lot of differences. Musser, a lot tighter out of 1, sets him up better for 2, and he pulls that gap back up a little bit. Then on the run up here to 5 and 6, pretty similar. 6 and 7 should be overall pretty similar, but Fetter, even a bit different there. You can see him going lower because it's a higher speed corner, trying to get a little bit of fresh air to the left front, clips the inside curb. Musser avoids it.
I think watching through between Musser and Fetter, I think the big problem that Musser is about to have is that it seems like Sector 1, Sector 3, so I'm classifying Sector 1, the line to 7, and Sector 3 I'm saying is 11 through 16 really. Those are the technical tricky bits on the track for me. Those are the really twisty bits that kind of go through. They're not S's, but there are a lot of switchbacks. There are a lot of complex corners, and Musser with those wide runs are very, very hard to run through. Fetter with those tight, narrow runs are really, really good. Alex is standing by with Kennedy here. And Alex, what do you got?
Thanks, Brad. And, rolling off P4 here for the KA Junior Pre-Final, Edward Kennedy. I mean, Edward, we haven't had a chance to talk to you this weekend. We don't get a chance to talk to you much throughout the year, but you're rolling pretty good this weekend. Kind of sum it up for me so far.
I mean, it's all right. We got a good quali. Obviously, thanks to my mechanic. He obviously wants me to say that, but good quali. We got the good first heat, maybe a little bit more rough in the second heat. So now we're going on the pre-main, and 4th is a good spot. The outside isn't too rough here, so hopefully we'll do something from there.
From what you learned so far this weekend, what's been some of the challenges that maybe you faced as a driver?
This track is a good track, but it's very bumpy, so the challenge is the bumps going through here, but the drivers, they like to be a lot rougher around here.
Thank you, Edward.
And that kind of goes on some of the other talking points from Friday, even with our coverage about how they were all a bit timid to say whether or not the track was going to race good. They thought it was going to be kind of tricky to pass on, and that was mainly due, I think, to the fact that, again, you got so many of these high-speed rhythm-type sections, and you mentioned that right before we cut to Alex chatting with Edward Kennedy that, the technical parts of the racetrack, what makes them so technical is you have to think 4 or 5 corners ahead. Turn 1 sets up 2, good or bad, kind of sets you for 3, and then especially 3, 4, 5, 6 is all one big rhythm run before you're back straight with enough time to just take 7 how you want. Even this infield run here in the middle of the track at the highest point on the circuit, turns 8, 9, and 10, that is all kind of still one continuous corner. And this sector here, how many times have we seen drivers get out of shape and drop a wheel in 15? That starts usually going through 12 in the setup for then that chicane at 13 and 14, how wide you wash there, how much you're able to late apex and set up 15, and even 15, whether or not you go off. If you end up too far off to the wayside, it hurts you in the last corner. Prime example of that right here, Jake Fetter did not get through turn 1 good. He lost a ton of ground. A lap ago, he was, I think, gearing up for a charge, got to within maybe a car and a half of Jordan Musser, and now Jordan, whether it was a matter of Fetter's mistake or him seeing that he's got less than 3 to go, he has pulled the pin and found the afterburners. The 616 last time by was able to almost match his personal best on the session at a 61.85. He hit a 61.93, and I think he's tracking for even better than that now. So I believe for Shifter Masters, they do get a set of sticker yellows for the final because they're on the softer of the 2 compounds. That may see more drivers down the order as well start to push a bit in this final kind of run through. And speaking of it, I think we're going to get 2 really good angles with how much they're spread apart on the racetrack. These 2, obviously, still the overall Masters fight as they get the 2 to go signal, but you can look at the gaps on your screen. Francisco Vassallo, he's gotten past the back of the on-track Masters field right now, and Frank Runco pushed him to 5th overall. He's still 4th in the category, but Bradley Danoff is there, and so is Morn Van Tok. It's a 4-pack, and really it's 5. Lance Lane is close as well. And so we're going to get this here if we think about how the last lap's going to transpire, how close they all are. Runco's now faded behind Morn Van Tok and Danoff on this lap around. So now Captain VTM, Mr. Helmet Painter himself, Bradley Danoff, and Francisco Vassallo on the Beer Alert, the 508 and the white helmet are all close enough that if there's a mistake that happens or a bit of fatigue that causes something of the like, with a lap and a half to go, we could see a change in the order again.
Yeah, anything can happen here in Shifter, and that is the one thing I will say is you never discount anyone in this class until the checkered flag falls because of the fact you have the added complexity of shifting that comes in as well. Because if you miss a gear, if you have a moment there, it can completely throw off your rhythm and throw off your pace, as I fear that is what possibly has happened there with Danoff in the 517. Lost significant pace going through 8, 9, and 10, but is able to recover here into turn 11 now and hold off Van Tok for the moment here. Danoff just continuing to hold on to this 5th place and trying to chase ahead, but will set up an offline 15 through 16 and is not able to get past here. Runco in that Magic Kart.
Yeah, he had a moment there in 15. He was gearing up, getting close, and then just kind of missed the point at the center of the corner. Morn did. Had he nailed that one, he would have been able to maybe make something happen at 16 with a diver, but it didn't. It didn't work out. The gap opens back up. Danoff gets new life. And for Jordan Musser, another feather in the cap that's probably got way too many. The multi-time Supernats champ, Pro champ, Master champ, you name it, he's done it, he's won it. He'll win this one as well. Pre-final winner, the number 616 in Master Shifter. Fetter second. Ryan Franke should be more than safe for 3rd, and 4th should go to Frank Runco as the last one running in the regular division. Scott Presti way back after the moment, but this is the fight for 2nd at Supermasters. Vassallo's pulled. Look at them all really taking it easy on the entry to 11. I bet you they're feeling it a bit at this point in the session and just trying to bring it home and nurse it. Let's see if Morn tries anything in the last turn. He'll swing out. It won't be there. Danoff covers, and Francisco Vassallo scores the win in Shifter Masters over Supermasters over Bradley Danoff 2nd, Van Tok 3rd, Lance Lane 4th, and man, what a gut punch for Matt Machiko and the Magic Kart squad, and Scott Presti as well, going out fighting for P3 in the early running of this pre-final. We're going to take a break as they clear Matt Machiko off the racetrack and get set for a full house 36. KA Juniors are ready to roll here from Salem, Ohio. You're watching Kart Chasers coverage of the Stars Championship Series Earthquake. We'll be back.
Hey, what's up, Caleb? What's up, Brandon? You sound defeated. A long day at the office? Yeah, got stuck at a cat food marketing meeting for like 3 hours. I don't know a thing about cat food, and I don't even work in marketing. And then I got sent on a coffee run like I was some sort of intern. Then at the end of the day, when I want to go get gas, I just realized everything is so darn expensive nowadays, man.
Yeah, you got that right.
Like, do you have any idea how much we're spending on Netflix?
It's like $20 a month.
Do you know how much we're spending on cable?
That's like $50 a month.
And you know what isn't expensive?
Tell me.
Kart Chaser Premium. For only $9.99 a month, you can watch all the American karting action live from coast to coast. Subscribe and become a member today.
Let's go race.
Come on, man.
Florida kart racers, you asked for it, and we're going to bring it. Introducing Florida Karting Championship, FLKC, a brand new racing series coming to Florida in 2026.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. Stars Championship Series Earthquake action. Travis Pettit. What a day he had yesterday. My goodness. A crazy moment at the start of one of the two heat races, having to take the escape route. He dropped back more than where he exited from 4th to back to 10th, and then drove through the entire field, and he's been rewarded with it. For it with a front row starting spot alongside John Antonino. New colors and a new home for Canada's Gabriel Balog here this weekend. And All Canada Row 2 has Edward Kennedy, who we spoke to moments ago, on his outside. Isaac Malka, little sizzle on the blue and yellow. Mike Doty Racing LN Kart's going to be on the outside of row 3 to his inside. Nico Katowski, top qualifier this weekend. Great performance in the works here for young Nico. And that TKG Bureau Art squad is very happy with the progress this young man has had already. He's still hunting for that first career U.S. national race win, but he's already gotten a few podiums, and he has sniffed victory before. Valentino Santian in that same boat, running solidly and starting from the 7th spot here on row 4 in the Paralyn. Tristan Murphy, a winner already multiple times over. The Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart rolls from P8.
Going on from P8 there, Isaac Payne, P9, Oliver Neighbor, P10, Nathan Dupuis. I got to talk to him a little bit this morning on his thoughts of everything, and you know, he was one that had no clue what the weather was going to do going through. Parker Ives in P12, Gulseth 13, Mort 14th, Malatesta in P15, Mars in 16th, Berghofer in P17, Resende in P18, Wargo, and Borneman in P20, rounding things out. Bristol Borneman going to be one that's looking to charge through, but as they come around the final corner here, this very packed grid of talent will be bringing it to the line here to get things going for the KA Junior Pre-Final. 11 minutes plus 2 laps as they come down the line here. Very nice and together, and let's see what they can put together going through, getting the motion to slow down, but they will be underway for 11 minutes plus 2 laps.
Couple of moments, one driver off, couple around further back. 5-10 around at turn number 2. Parker Ives was the first one to hit the dirty side of the track and go off. He kept going. Grayson Walcott's involved. One of the Holtz driver development drivers is involved. The 894 collected as well as the 804 of Bowen Green is off on the inside in the comp cart there. And that was right around the mid-20s, so we'll have to find out who else got affected by it. But a lot of contact as they all tried to file down into the one-lane clean section of Turn 2, and there's more aftermath from it. One of the Rocket Racing Company machines has a broken rear bumper. That'll be a meatball flag. That is the 852 that is going around on the inside of turn number 11. That's James Resende. He has only moments until he'll be pulled into the pit lane. He's still digging, though, probably unaware, although, again, every time that bumper digs into the ground, which will be whenever he goes to a left-hander, you saw Max Weiland point to him, he'll feel it. And you saw it with his hands. He went to the corner. It lifted the inside tire up to the left. The rear right side dug in, and it'll knock him out of shape. At some point, they'll catch that. If not, it'll be caught in the scales. So an exit coming for him and a lot more that dropped down the leaderboard. Only 30 crossed the line of our 36 starters. Not a great start for them, and not a good moment there for Nico Katowski. Here comes Balog inside, waving, asking to get let by. Nico lets him through.
I don't know if I'd call that letting him through, if giving a quarter of an inch space is letting through, but man, tell you what, Katowski slotting in there behind Balog as Kennedy will be in 5th. Going through and continuing along. Look at this dive to the inside into 11 from Katowski. If he can make that stick, and certainly I would argue that that one's stuck coming through and around, but what an exciting opening here for KA Junior. They showed up, they saw turn 1 and took it as a challenge. They made it through turn 1, but anything beyond that, well, it was your guess how it was going to go. Continuing along, going through. Look at this dive to the inside to the outside. That is the 896 of Kennedy who is defending, coming around through, and many carts still trying to settle things in as we see everyone go through. 8.5 minutes of action left to go, though, and you have to go through as the meatball has come out.
Off goes Edward Kennedy, and around he goes. Edward Kennedy out of turn number 6, got high and wide and not too handsome there. Spun around. He was frustrated, pointed forward. He's still in the grass. And there's more contact. Tristan Murphy, Oliver Nybert, Isaac Melka collide down at turn number 8. And we've lost 3 more of our top 10 contenders. Another one around. That's the 888 machine, or 868 of Connor Corsi further back. But Oliver Nybert, heavy damage, and the despair is reeling in. And I think he's gingerly holding his right knee. So hopefully he's okay. You could see the Stars officials were over there. If they need to, they will roll the medical team to tend to him. For now, we stay green, and it is Pettit to Antonino to Balog to Katowski. That's the same. Now it's Nathan Dupuis, who, remember yesterday, leading in Heat 1 right here at turn 2, spun out of the point and fell way back. He's now got a good shot to lock in a great starting position for the main later today. Nathan Golseth now into 6th from 12th on the grid. He's in that red and white Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart, leading a 4-pack with Valentino Santillan in tow, Ryan Mort and Isaac Payne at the back of it, and big movers so far. Mad Max Weiland from 23rd up to 11th. Here's another look. Nybert gets a huge shot from Santillan right there, and it sends him into the side as he was making a pass on Malcutt right into the side of Tristan Murphy. Nothing that Nybert could do, and without a doubt, that's going to draw the eye of the officials for the review just off the incident occurring alone. But I think Valentino Santillan, if it didn't deploy the pushback bumper, he's probably going to have an avoidable contact penalty that will be assessed post-race. So all results again on our screen provisional, and everything you're hearing provisional as well. And hopefully again Oliver Nybert is okay. We're hearing that again. He is obviously able to get out of the go-kart, but still, that was a hefty impact, Bradley.
That was a hefty impact. You kind of saw the immediate reaction from that as well. And then, of course, saw him holding the leg. He is out of the cart. We'll continue to keep our eyes on that one as battles continue on track. These drivers are definitely not letting up here. KA Junior, major competition being found up and down the field, but just because you're up front does not mean you're safe. As we can see, any little moment can happen and mix everything up as we continue through. But Travis Pettit currently up in the lead in that 8:29. John Antonino in second and Balog in third as we watch this battle here continue along. This is Mort that is leading a pack of karts there back in P7 continuing through. You can see this 4-kart battle that goes through, everyone taking slightly different lines, doing something slightly different, and it looks like that is Gulseth pointing the finger forward saying, let's continue forward, don't attack me, let's work, let's go. And now, you can ask that all day, but whether that actually happens, that's another question entirely. 5 minutes left to go coming up, plus 2 laps, so we've hit that point in the race where tire fall off is starting to show, even though I say that, some drivers are putting in their best laps of the entire race here on lap 5, which is not what we've seen in other classes. So KA Junior really mixing things up here from what you would expect.
Well, you've got 2 factors that play into that. One, now that they're lined up, and you can see the leaders, the 3 of them, Pettit, Antonino, and Balog, they're pushing in a single file line here really well, and they are able to use the draft and the bump drafting to their benefit to go faster than they would alone or when they were running side by side earlier in the race. But also, they have a significantly lower minimum weight requirement than the full or the adult categories. They run at a 320-pound minimum weight, I believe, for KA Junior, as we see Dupuis make a move there for 4th. He's caught and passed now Nico Katowski, and that was a burner lap for him, 105.19 for Nate Dogg, 4/10 better than the race leader. He is hunting right now with plenty of time still on the clock, but you're going to see probably a lot less dag or wear or fall off, I think, in this class, as well as the micro and the minis. It's not a huge factor until you start putting a lot more weight and even a lot more horsepower on the go-kart with how they run the sessions. Yeah, after 2 or 3 days on a set of tires, a couple hundred laps, you'll see some serious fall off, but only on session 4, still with the main to go. It's not usually a factor, and it's one of those things that when they move up to the senior ranks, they have to consider a little bit. That extra 40 pounds to go to the senior minimum weight with roughly the same power plant, just a difference in the exhaust restrictor is a huge difference. And you do have to think a little bit of overheating the tires, maybe not so much the DEG with the current iteration of MGs, but just a bit more in the back of your mind. Whereas right now in the junior classes, I don't think it's something that they really have to focus on too heavily. And again, hearing from some of the drivers saying how much grip is already in the track itself, they're probably all right to push at 110% from green to checker. And you're seeing the leaders try to do that because company is on the way. Katowski has fallen back already from Dupuis. Last time by for Nathan Dupuis, he could only match the top 3, but he's not far from that draft window of about 8 or 9 tenths back. He's currently 1.4 away from the back bumper of Gabriel Balog. So the Canadian is one of the fastest in both of his classes this weekend, and without a doubt, he'll be there the moment they pass again. 1 or 2 more swaps of position in the top 3, and the 841 will join the party.
I will not be surprised if Dupuis catches up here. You can see already that gap closing even more here through the 3rd sector. And I'll tell you right now, again, talking with Nate Dogg this morning, that is a driver that just extrudes confidence and feels very relaxed at all times. You know, we saw with the stars and the pro categories, you know, some of the drivers are very charged, very energetic. Nate Dogg is so laid back. For a name like Nate Dogg, I was expecting, you know, bouncing off the walls going. And Nate Dogg, I mean, I walked up and introduced myself and, you know, I said, how are you feeling? He goes, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm, you know, even in the pit report this morning, I slept really well and I like my sleep. You know, that's Nate Dogg summed up. So the cool, calm, collected head there may prevail here. We'll see what happens for Nate Dupuis coming up. But also, 4th place is not a bad gig to be in here. So we'll see if Dupuis can catch up a bit here, get a little bit closer as Balog, Antonino, and Pettit continue to battle it out. And, you know, if these top 3, if they do what KA Junior has done here in this pre-final and have a little bit of fireworks show up here, that can always open things up. So if you are Dupuis, you kind of just think that as well. You know, do you necessarily want to get into an elbows out scrap battle with those top 3, or are you okay hanging a little bit further back, survive for the finals, and then just see what happens?
I think you want to get up there just to at least see and maybe try some moves that you're thinking might work and experiment a little bit. That's what everyone's doing right now here in this pack. They're feeling each other out, both to see each other's strengths and weaknesses. Balog has a great view of where he may be better or worse than Antonino and Pettit. Pettit's got the no view of that, and Antonino can see exactly where the 829 is stronger or weaker than him at the moment. But for Nathan, I think it's both a matter of confidence, a little bit of just an emotional high if he can get a pre-final win. And again, he's still closing in on these three. But still, as fourth is a good place to fight from, first is a whole lot better when you control the field from the front of it. And he'll have a chance. He's now in the tow window. He's now on the bumper of Balog. He is there. They will get to the line with seconds remaining now. Let's see it. Is it going to be 2? Will it be 3? It looks like they'll give him another. 3 to go. Plenty of time for Nathan to get there. When you talk about personality a little bit off track, before we focus on the last lap battle that is absolutely looming, Hurricane Travis, a cool story with him that his mother shared with me just before the last race. He was born on the night of one of the craziest hurricanes the Northeast ever experienced, and he is absolutely an exuberant young man off the circuit. A ton of fun, a ton of energy. We've got to see him get his first win and a first couple of wins after that, and he's been pumped up. He would be pumped up with this one, though. We haven't yet gotten to see a Gabriel Balog win, and now as he moves into second, maybe today's the day for Gabriel to go to the front in only either his first or second outing. I think it might be the first. It's for sure the first in the Stars Series, and I can't remember off the top of my head if he was able to join the green squad at our last major on the tour. But Gabriel Balog is really finding his own zone already with that TB Kart camp. And as he exits turn 16 and sees 2 laps to go, there's only one driver standing in the way of a pre-final win, and that's the 829 of Travis Pettit.
Travis Pettit in the way, but how long will Travis Pettit be in the way? Because Balog, with a beautiful pass there last lap, is now going to start setting it up again, and this is what you have to do here around this Quaker City Motorsports Park track. You set the passes up earlier than you need to, so that way you can make them stick when it counts. Last-second dives can work, but the more you can set it up, the better it is. Look how defensive Pettit is, and look at the finger pointing forward. I think Balog knows he's under pressure because Dupuis is going to send it up the inside of Antonino, and Dupuis will move up into third now. Now, if you are Antonino, you're just looking and you're saying, how can I get back through? If you are Balog or Pettit, you know Nate Dupuis is behind. Nate Dupuis has gained a lot of time and is quick. You better figure it out. Here we go, coming through turn 11. They hold on here through 11, through 12, 13, 14, into turn 15 we go. Now out of 16, and you see Antonino thought about outside to inside for 16. Can't make it stick. Dupuis loses a little space, and the leader's off. Pettit is off into the grass. White flag through. Balog looking for something into one. Bumper on. Pettit can't make it work. Down into turn 2 we go. This is a great battle coming through. Antonino down the inside of Dupuis. Gets up into third. Can he get 2 more places in a lap?
Buddy Antonino went from 5th to 1st to score the win in King of the Castle, the last round in OKN Junior. Now in KA Junior, can he go from 4th to 1st on the final lap as well? He's up to 3rd. He lost a little time with the pass and the exit of that first sector behind. Big battle there for 5th. Golseth versus Santian as the leaders flurry by turn 8. This second group going at it for the inside of the 3rd row. But Travis Pettit trying to take a look over the shoulder. That front straightaway is not perfectly straight. It's caught a couple drivers out over the course of the weekend. He dropped that tire, but for now, he's been able to get away with it. Through 11, final time to 12 and 13 and 14. All stacked up. Here's Antonino with a run into 15. Balog to the wayside, and Pettit should be clear. Dupuis gets to second. Travis Pettit holds them away and wins the pre-final. Dupuis to P2. Antonino gets 3rd after it all, and Balog, with 2 corners to go, gets caught out in 15 off the racetrack and finishes 4th.
What a run in the final lap. Dupuis will be starting outside row 1 of the final, and that will be a major win there for Dupuis. We'll see what happens there as they come into the scales here.
Yeah, let's go down to our scale line shot as we watch them all head on in. Pettit, Dupuis, Antonino, Balog, Nathan Golseth holds the rest of that second group away to secure the last spot in the top 5. Wild ending to the KA Junior pre-final.
Down here on the scale line from a wild KA Junior pre-final. You see the handshakes there from Antonino, Gabriel Balog. So clearly no love lost there from the two of you. The last lap got pretty wild. Walk me through it from your perspective there, John.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I messed up coming through here, right? I went a little wide and sent it too deep. But then I was lucky enough to have Nathan push me all the way down the straight. It got us up to them, and then made a couple mistakes. And I tried to go for it in the second to last corner. I made it, but then I went in too deep, and Nate got the over/under and got it.
I'm curious because I know Xander and was talking about it over during the pre-final. We're all guessing about what the tire wear is like for you guys in the KA Junior class. Obviously, you're not going to get a new set for the main. How hard were you guys pushing? Looked like you were pushing pretty hard. And how much of a difference have you noticed in the tire wear throughout the weekend?
The tire wear isn't horrible because this track has so much grip. Like, honestly, having a little bit worn out tires isn't horrible. But yeah, I was coasting in some spots just to save the tires just a little bit. But yeah.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Let's just take one step back here to the 881. Gabriel Balog. We heard it from John. I want to hear it from you. The last lap, just kind of describe it from your perspective there.
Pardon?
What was that last lap for you? That last lap like for you, Gabriel?
Nah, it was okay. I mean, I was on Pettit's bumper until Antonino surprised me with a dive into the second lap corner. So, yeah, I didn't cover it quick enough, but it's only the pre-final. Not too much was lost. So let's see what we can do going into the final.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Yep, thank you.
Quick bit of a break here, and we'll be back with more KA Junior wrapped up and set, albeit with a little more official checks on the unofficial results you're seeing on screen as they cross the line. Good recovery from a 23rd starting spot for Weiland to crack the top 10 and close up on that second pack towards the end. He ends P10 behind Katowski, Payne, Mort, Santian, and of course the top 5 we mentioned earlier. On deck, Swift Stars and KA Stars here for pre-final action before the morning activity concludes. You're watching KC's coverage of the Stars Earthquake from Quaker City. Brandon, why are there all these charges for just over $200?
I'm tired of all this branding business, okay? Branding this, branding that. Why are there all these expenses on AKR over $200? We know, okay? Take a walk with me. At Shop AKR, they have everything you need to start racing at a very cheap and affordable price. They have MXC rims, they got chains, electrical stands, tilt seats, they got MXCs. And if you didn't know, on top of that, any purchase in the continental US over $200, that's free shipping.
Hey, aren't you supposed to be in the AKR Anonymous meeting over there?
Dude, I'm doing a commercial.
Dude, we have no time. It's about to start.
Stop. We all love Shop AKR. Me? More than others. What do I get at Shop AKR?
MXC rims.
Paulie Massimino wins in KA. Paulie Massimino is a winner in OKN Stars.
Take your driving to the next level with one-on-one coaching from 2024 OKN Stars champion Paulie Massimino. Car rental options are available if you'd like to keep yours at home, and drivers in all classes are welcome. From Briggs 206 to Mini to K100 and X30. With in-depth data analysis, onboard video footage review, and lead follow on-track sessions, each private coaching session will see you end as a more complete driver than when you started. Book your coaching session now.
Kyle, what are you doing?
It's got my new Greyhound seat.
You don't even have a cart.
Doesn't matter. I have a Greyhound.
Who the f is Kyle Cuthbertson? Doesn't even have a go-kart.
Doesn't matter.
Cuthbertson threw on Turney. Turney in the dirt.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Quaker City Motorsports Park in Salem, Ohio. The final 2 support class pre-finals are getting set to roll. The Swift Stars have just been released onto the racetrack. Jaden Francisco for Ryan Perry Motorsport and Nitro Kart will lead the field of green alongside Parolin's Maxwell Macha. Jake Manoli and Enzo De Janeiro will make up row number 2.
Yeah, going on from there, Holden Myers in P5 with Paxton Romero P6, Connor Lipka in 7th, Cameron Johnson P8, Brian Borneman P9, and Nicholas Mose in 10th place. From there, it's Gaddison Sears rounding out row number 6, Jack Klein and Thigpen in row number 7, Wojciechowski. Words are hard, and Bryson Scales rounding out the next row, Zemnitsky Park and Hadju Nemeth III, the 19 karts to take on the Swift Stars pre-final. They come through 16 doubled up, and let's see what happens here as they come through. They'll see the green flag this time by, and it's going to be a case of 11 minutes plus 2 laps to take on this Quaker City Motorsports Park. Everyone looks good, they look good, and away they go.
Holding our breath there as they roll through 2, 3, 4, and 5. All looks to be okay for the Swift Stars field. All 19 make it over to turn 6, over to turn 7. Nitro Karts 1 and 2. Francisco to Manolio. So far, so good. Does anyone bail out of line down the run to turn 8? First to look will be Johnson. De Janeiro with a little fade as well, but that was more so to cover off. And going backwards is going to be the 198 of Byron Borman. He'll lose 2 as he drops behind Dominic Gaddis and Nicholas Mose. But otherwise, single file all the way down the board. It is Jaden Francisco to Manolio to Holden Myers, and then Maxwell Macha from the outside of that front row. A little bit of side-by-side action further back, but the top 4 getting away cleanly. We'll come to put 1 lap in the books, about 9.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go when they hit the loop. And a change there for second. Holden Myers puts the Timmy Tech comp card up to P2. Great start for the 136 from 5th.
Myers had a great run out of turn 1, and they just kept it going through the whole lap, side by side into turn 1, further back in the field. Up front, Francisco is just going to take off there. It was 0.4 of a second to Myers as they cross the line, but you could see that as they get into turn 6 has already started to close up there, and Manolio is going to continue to close through. Macha, I don't like the drink. I like the driver, though. Really liking his odds in P4 at the moment. Side by side into turn 7 we go, is the 133 of Mose is continuing to move in up and down the field, continuing along the 191 and the 174 making moves there. Manolio and Macha getting past Myers. Myers 2 for 1 down and will go down into 4th place. De Janeiro will be looking to have a move in 5th if possible, try to close that up, and they just continue to battle side by side. Look at this again into 11. We go side by side, another 2 for 1 as we shuffle yet again.
Yeah, a couple of moments all the way through the entire top 10, but one thing has stayed the same. The 130 has led Jaden Francisco from the pole to the end of lap 2 now, with about 3 car lengths back to Maxwell Macha. Look at how close they all are. Enzo De Janeiro was worried about Cameron Johnson. I don't know if Cameron was necessarily looking to go there. He obviously just pointed just a moment ago out of 1 to say, focus forward, dude. We've got the leaders in our sights. Let's not lose them. And again, talking back about the Micro Swift pre-final, very similar situation here. We're at the end of lap 2, working lap 3. We're not quite sure where the big gaps and the splits in the packs are going to end up, but we're starting to see them maybe materialize a little bit. 1st and 2nd away, just a touch from 3rd. 5th and 6th a little bit further back. A little more back to 7th and 8th. And while we're noticing, again, lots on the circuit in terms of the drivers themselves, I'm noticing at least a little bit of some darker complexion in the picture. We've gotten more and more cloud cover. When or if do we get any extra factors and variables thrown at these drivers and mechanics? You can see from the far side of the property, pretty sunny over here down by turn number 6. And so far, so good. As we see the radar down to the bottom right corner there. Just all clean from us. No green around there. It's only green on the racetrack itself with the racing conditions. And that's what we want right now. We want battles like this. Looming, Macha, Francisco. He had a little look there. I don't think he was trying to go in 3, but he kind of had to back off and give Jaden some space, because Jaden hadn't gotten a push yet out of turn 1 or even into it. And now he does, because Maxwell has caught him.
Look at Holden Myers there, tucking the helmet down, looks over the shoulder out of 7, and then immediately tucks the helmet right back down. Is really looking to have a run, try to get moving through as Manalio will continue to push through with De Janeiro right in the mix. Those top 2, though, continuing to just trade and give pressure. Give pressure, take pressure. What can you do here if you are Macha? You have Francisco right there. Myers continuing to reel them in through 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all together on track, coming out of turn number 8 down into, or turn 11, excuse me, down into 15. Out of 16 they'll go, and look at this dive down for the 190 of De Janeiro against the 191 of Manalio. Goes through Myers now in the position and continues to watch there as Macha, again, 6 minutes to go here, is settled in, and that is the 144. That's Hadjianimuth III, who is off the circuit.
It's been a weekend that's seen, unfortunately, the 144 off track as much as we've seen him on. Miklos with an issue, and now an issue for Dominic Gaddis. Turn 3, another victim. This time the 114, the MPG Kart Republic out of 7th. Spins in the infield opening sector. Now, battle for the lead. Side by side further back. Macha to the point, and looked like Cameron Johnson and Jake Manalio were leading the pack by Enzo De Janeiro. They get that job done. And so it's Manalio holding 4th now. De Janeiro back to 6th. And Holden Myers is all by himself. A little separation out front and out back here at the halfway mark in this Swift Stars pre-final. Jaden Francisco still showing the way, and that has spread them all quite a bit. Probably the biggest gap we've seen through that main pack so far in this session. De Janeiro at the end of it there in 6th, and Gaddis was the 7th man of our main contingent. He'll now fall way down the leaderboard. Where does he cross the line at? It's gonna be all the way at the back if he still does. Down to 18th for Dominic Gaddis as Enzo goes way wide there out of 3 and 4. A moment for him. Here's Paxton Romero on the Team Bennick, number 155, moving up into 7th and driving away a little bit from Nicholas Mose. Byron Borman back there. Connor Lipka is there as well. Then it's Dalton Sears in the 124 and Simon Jack Klein. So here they go. This is end of the top 10. Jack Sears there in the 124, looks to be MPG Kart Republic, P11, just ahead of Jack Klein, and a little gap further from Bryson Scales.
And as we watch through, those gaps continue to open up. The whole field separated by 9 seconds now with 4.5 minutes left to go. You see battles and the packs developing here on this midline of the race here. These pre-finals, again, 11 minutes plus 2 laps. So there is a little bit of that mid-pack attrition that will come in that sort of mid-run breathing that has to be given. As we see, off goes the 111 of Johnson with a big run there, and now that is going to cause a little bit of chaos all the way through the field. Manalio now battling it out with Myers, Johnson, and De Janeiro battling it out. De Janeiro able to swap up into P5, continues to get pressure, though, from Johnson as they come through. As up in the front, Macha, Francisco continue P1, P2, bumper to bumper, 3rd and 4th bumper to bumper, 5th and 6th bumper to bumper. So you have 2, 2, 2, and here's your dive down the inside. Goes Francisco into turn 8. Macha leaves plenty of space, and there it is. Francisco back into the lead of pre-final here against Macha. 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps.
Yeah, just a little bit of time left. We're getting closer to probably a head-to-head mano-a-mano fight, it appears, here for the lead and the pre-final win. These two have been the best of the weekend. Maxwell Macha, great qualifying effort, great run through the heats. Jaden Francisco kind of flew under the radar a little bit in the first time session of the weekend Saturday morning, but he has come to life when it counts, and once again, he is battling for a session victory. With 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go, now back to his teammate. The gap opens to 1.6 seconds at the timing loop. Holden Myers right behind. I mean, it's going to be a matter of raw pace at this point. Who can work together better? Which tandem will go? Will it be Francisco and Macha opening up and keeping it a 2-horse race up front? Or will 3rd and 4th be able to arrive on the scene? They've dropped Enzo De Janeiro and Cameron Johnson. Those two back in 5th and 6th. No choice at this point but to just stay in line and hope for some major battles up front to bring them back into the mix of things, because there's really not much they can do 3 seconds away, even if they were a little bit faster with the two duos in front lined up as well. I mean, it would take a lot at that point with this little amount of time left in the session.
Yeah, as they continue to battle there in 5th and 6th, and that's the thing when you have kind of two carts battling that breaks out 2-2 and 2 is you start battling, you lose touch to the group ahead, and you start to reel in the group behind. But again, with the gaps as large as they are from these 3 packs here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down to Romero going through, that is going to mix things up quite a bit as they continue to battle. Alex down in the pits has Jerry Clark standing by. Alex.
Thanks, Brad. Jared, you and I are kind of watching a couple laps here of the Mini Stars pre-final. What have you noticed track-wise? What have you felt so far at the track this morning? And, with the cooler temperatures, what do you think it's going to play for in the pre-final here?
I just think it's just going to keep gripping up. Unless it rains or something, it's just going to keep getting more and more grippy, and it's just going to get harder and harder to drive as the day goes on.
You showed that in the warm-up session. You went off the racetrack. You were trying a different approach to the corner there. What kind of happened in the warm-up?
I tried to just try a lift in turn 2, and it just didn't work.
Do you think it's going to work maybe for the race? What do you think is going to be? Let me rephrase that. For the pre-final here, are you going to try to continue to change your approach to the driving line, or are you going to kind of go back to what you were doing yesterday?
I'm going to try to keep my cool and keep doing what I was doing, because what I've been doing is working pretty well for me, and I'm going to keep trying to get faster, but I can't change much because I learned the hard way.
Last thing here, normally the outside is one of those situations, especially in KA Senior, where you don't want to be there. Here you kind of said it's more of the optimal line. Why is that?
Just because, the way the turns flow out of the start, it's better to be where I am, because I just feel like the way you get a single file by the end, you'll end up more positions up because there's more turns right than left. So I just think that outside is better in this situation.
Thank you, Jared.
Yep.
And again, while turn 1 is a sharp left-hander, he is right on both the fact that the right-handers are, more of them back-to-back in the first couple of corners the field approaches, but they're also much tougher to, I think, hang on the outside than maybe the turn 1 corner. Turn 1 seems to be pretty flat from start to finish. It's downhill in the brake zone, just kind of like this is here, down into 11, with a lot of great fighting towards the early teens. This is Bryson Scales there now going past Eric Wojciechowski in the blue and yellow for Scales in the 1-1-2. But right here, you can see them through 2 and through 3. The outside of the track really falls off, and it naturally will have any kind of debris or marbles or rocks, roll down that hill. And so it's going to stay dirty offline no matter how much you go there, as long as someone's going to drive on the regular groove behind you. So I agree. I think the outside lane, especially if you're a couple rows back, might end up netting out better than the inside lane. But we've also seen plenty of times turn 1 have some carnage, have some contact, and stack up, and that bottleneck goes to driver's right in the path of that outside lane.
Yeah, if you're going to be on the outside, if you're beyond row 2, you are really rolling the dice to kind of what you're going to get into here as we see the 174, 130 continue to battle here. Macho Francisco still trying to settle out who's going to be P1, P2 as the time has ended. You see Francisco with a wider line there looking through for Macho ahead. Macho looking through. Look at the bounces trying to spike the RPMs as white flag is out. It's 1 lap to go this time by, and it's going to be interesting to see what can happen here. As you can see, single file through turn 1, but back to your point, again, past the first 2 rows, I don't know that I want to be on the outside, honestly, and you can kind of see that as it goes, because any carnage can really spell problems. Manalio and Myers here, 3rd and 4th, they've sort of caught up to Macho and Francisco. Not nearly close enough, as we'll have a run here. Macho very defensive the inside of 8. The 130 of Francisco to the outside of 8. Side by side they go. The little kink to the right. Sends for the 180 to the left. Switch back to the inside. Turns to the outside. Francisco holds on. Macho goes into the dirt, and that will seal the fate of Francisco to the front. Macho to 2nd.
Max wasn't happy about it. He's pointing animatedly towards Jaden. Jaden almost got clear on his own right, just off the speed and the flow through the corner. That last little bit, though, Max was trying to hang on at Jaden's right rear tire, knowing he'd have the inside for the next turn, and Jaden closed the door. And so that will, as you mentioned, seal the fate. It will go all the way to the finish. Macha frustrated, Francisco stoked about it. He wins the pre-final in Swift Stars. And an unhappy Maxwell Macha pulls alongside to display his displeasure with the way the race unfolded there. Manalio, Myers, Johnson, DeGennaro. Here's Romero and Mose. And to conclude the top 10, Byron Borneman and Simon Jack Klein. A view from overhead. And, well, it's not as hot as yesterday. I'm sure that's a breath of fresh air. Nice little breeze. Not too much, though. Not nearly as high winds as we saw. And that's something I don't think we mentioned yet. And that's the tailwind, headwind effect on the toe. And I don't know if we'll get much of that during this next session. But for KA Stars, Oliver Hodgson and Alan Isambard, they have been top of the heap. But there have been many that are close. Davin Roberts is obviously feeling confident. He's pointing like he's ready to go straight to the front. He lines up on the outside of row 1 there. Here's his vantage point right on the bumper of the 961 of Colin Lloyd. This is Alan Isambard in the Rocket Racing Company LN Kart. We'll start alongside him there, inside, right behind Oliver Hodgson. And we spoke to Jared Clark just moments ago, right? He says he feels good about 6th. He'd prefer that over 5th, which 5th has the DPC Motorsports Orange and Black X-Prix of Andrew Hamill. And they are the first 3 rows of a full grid and a full house in KA Stars. 41 drivers. You can see them all slowly filing their way out and onto the circuit here at Quaker City Motorsports Park, a beautiful facility nestled in the countryside of northeastern Ohio, just near that Ohio-Pennsylvania border, and hosting its first ever U.S. Major, its first ever Stars Championship Series event. And the earthquake is really going to be felt here with the longest session for the KA Stars yet, and a full night to sleep on all the activity from yesterday, going back to the starting grid now with Hudson Brown and Chase Buscalia making up row 4.
Yeah, looking past row 4 there, Mick Gabriel, Chase Adams, Lucas Sabo, and Cash Perkins there, the top 6 rows. Talon Laney, Quinton, Angeli, and P14. Coyen and Wilson will make 15th and 16th. Brassel, Harrower, Galway, and Henry Taylor rounding out top 20 here. 41 park strong in this KA Stars pre-final. Some other big notes here. Ibrahim Den in P22, Joseph Hewitt in P21, Manning 23rd, Vitamonte through as all of the karts continue to roll. Many of these karts in the back will hope for something in turn 1 to give them a little bit of room forward if they can avoid it. Many of the karts up front just want to survive. They come into the tram lines here and they will hit the start zone. They get ready for 11 minutes plus 2 laps. We're underway here with KA Stars pre-final.
Everyone playing nice enough through turns 2 and 3, still trying to file into line. Where do they all blend on out as they crest the hill over at 4? Looks like we've got the full field through the entire first bit, and then we've got a spinner back at 6. Side by side in front of us. That's Quentin Angeli into the grass coming out of 7. He'll get swarmed by the cavalry. A whole line of karts on the inside and even more going wide there. Lucas Zabo gets bit, and now 2 together. One is the 908, the Mike Doty Racing entry of Galway, and the 969 of Frederick Manning colliding down by turn number 8.
Yeah, I thought I saw the 908 hit that inside grass there on the right-hand kink into the left-hander of 8 that kind of goes through, and I saw him just briefly get into the grass there. And then, I mean, when you're in that situation and you just send it into a corner, not a lot you can do. As we go to the drone shot and look at how tight turn 16 actually is there. 15 off into 16, and then there's that little slight kink in the front stretch that I think catches drivers off guard sometimes when they're very focused ahead behind. They don't think about that little bit of turn in the front stretch really can make a difference here as they go through around up front. Hodgson still leading on Isambard with Hamill and Lloyd. Your top 4. Roberts rounds out the top 5.
Davin Roberts back there still hunting down Colin Lloyd just as he did off the start. Great launch here for Andrew Hamill yesterday. Got to start 3rd off a career-high qualifying effort. And now he's back up to 3rd from his 5th place starting spot here in this pre-final with a great vantage point at the 2 drivers that have been the class of the field so far, Alan Isambard and Oliver Hodgson. Hodgson staying a little bit narrow off the jump of this one so far. Already a couple of penalties being called off the first lap incidents here by the officiating team. We'll keep tabs on them all as more action continues up front. 5 together, and Hudson Brown is not far away back in the 921 either.
And as we watch that 921 of Brown continue to try to apply pressure and make this a 6-kart battle for the lead, somebody is off big time on the exit of turn 1. Coming through and around as the leaders, this is how much this field has spread out, are coming through 6 into 7 as somebody was going off into turn 1. Makes a big difference there when you have this many karts that are spreading through. Look at this. We might have the dive to the inside of 8. We do. Isambard with a big dive, but switch back there from 927, going on that inside curbing and able to go back through. For a moment, though, Isambard could smell the lead, and I have a feeling Isambard, if he's not smelling a lot of exhaust, he'd love some fresh air. Look at this, dive into 11. It's going to put the pressure, gets a wheel out on the grass. Will that open him up there for 3rd place to get by Hamill? Trying to go through, come around. Lloyd also in the mix. Lloyd looking to get past Hamill, and Isambard frustrated twice in the 2 major passing zones.
Yeah, Allen looked for it there, and Oliver heard him go and didn't even have to turn his head. He could hear the engine starting to scream on that 953 machine, and quickly and slowly closed the door before Allen could get there. And a wise decision by Isambard to not force the issue too much early in the run. But another mental note, I'm sure, taken for Isambard on, okay, this is how he's going to play, this is what he's going to do, and not necessarily good or bad, but just continuing to add to that pad of notes and journal entry that he's probably got going right now of how he wants to play it and how he's got to beat the 927. This time, he'll hold the brake a little bit better through 8 and hold the lead with the pass attempt. New leader officially, Allen Isambard, through turns 9 and 10, commands the field. Hamill has faded back just a touch, and he'll be vulnerable now to Colin Lloyd in the run to 11. Does Lloyd get there? He's trying it, looking, and I think he will. No, didn't get it done. Andrew Hamill holds the outside now into 15. Just up ahead of this shot here, it looked like Hamill was going to be vulnerable in 15. Now he is in 16. Lloyd's got him. So has Davin Roberts, and Hudson Brown is looking for some as well.
And Brown 2-for-1 special up into 4th place, and Brown actually one of the fastest karts on track at the moment, so I will not be surprised if we see him continue to push forward, as Brown has been very quick all day so far here in KA Stars. Watch here the 916 a little bit further back of Clark in P9, who is trying to have some runs here, just trying to push, trying to find something. Top 2 breakaway, though. Look at this, Isambard, Hodgson. What do you do in that situation is look down the inside. We have a pass going. I thought I was going to see 2 passes at once there. Hamill, Roberts trying to sort things out with Brown yet again, continuing through that 905 of Hamill up in a great position.
Chase Buscalia was ready to try and take advantage of Hamill, but Mick Gabriel's going to get by him before he can even think about it. So now back for the 926 to 8th, his original qualifying spot. Little dust kicked up there further back in the field, and Oliver Hodgson stays a car length away. The driver that went off, there he is, the 985, 995, one of the JHED machines further back in the field. That was Joseph Hewitt. He was 24th last time around the loop. But Hodgson, a car length away from Isambard, and this major battle pack here from 3rd on back. Hudson Brown, the lone gold kart in the field, looking strong early in the pre-final. It goes all the way to Chase Adams there in the QG3 karting OTK. And for Hudson Brown this weekend, teaming up with the AEM karting group, so sharing data and intel and sources with Mick Gabriel in the Tony kart. So 2 drivers that are both fast and running up front. That's a huge benefit to be able to try different things here in this pre-final. It's still a race, but at the same time, it's one last test run of any adjustments you want to experiment with before you go to battle in the main. And I think whatever has been done, if there was anything, to Hudson Brown's machine, it looks to be in the right direction. P3 still holding, no pass here in 16 from Lloyd, but they all need a little more to get to the top 2. Isambard and Hodgson, last time 1.5 out, this time down to 1.4. A small increase for Hudson Brown and crew. Alex, what do you have for us down in pit lane here with 4 minutes to go?
Yeah, I'm seeing quite a change in the line from what I saw even from the warm-up and compared to yesterday in the heat races. It looks like drivers are really getting under that rubber now. The track is getting faster. If you look at the top 10, especially Isambard and Hodgson through turns 2 and 3, they're no longer using the exit rumble strips. I think partly due to drivers not wanting to risk dropping a tire, and partly due to the fact that the track is getting more and more grip. The lap times in qualifying were 104.8s. They're in the 104.8s again here in the pre-final.
Great point and pickup there by Alexander Searle. And to kind of give a bit of a description for our viewers watching along at home, when we talk about the rubber getting laid down, that's mainly by the outside tire going through any given corner. You see it's a little bit lighter here in turn 11, right up by the curb, and then about 2 feet off of it, that's where it really starts to darken. When that rubber and that grip really goes into this track and adds a little bit more stickiness for the karts to hold and carry more speed, well, it's also tougher to cross that rubber line on corner entry. So they're going to try and enter a little bit narrower to get under the rubber and lean on it to carry the momentum. And that's what's allowing them to, again, as Alex mentioned, stay a bit tighter in turn 2 and a few other corners. And while it also, again, grips those outside tires up and sticks to them, it means that outside tire is digging in deeper and deeper into the racetrack. You're going to see more and more inside rear lift of the inside rear tire at any given corner. That'd be the left rear here in this one, and you got a great visual from the front side of what that looks like towards the exit of the corner as Andrew Hamill gets shuffled back behind Jared Clark and Chase Adams. Clark now move him up to 8th on the BJR LN kart, but watching them, especially when they go through 15 and 16, look for that inside rear tire to really start to get some air time. Let's watch it. They're going to jump the curbs here, but look at Lloyd through 15. Little up, little down, rotates, and good. And then the same thing right here. A quick up on the entry, lands, pivots there at that center point while it's in the air, and then he's off and away down the straightaway. But still, it's not good enough to the leader's pace, though. That was another gain by Hodgson and Isambard. 105.1 for Isambard, a 105.2 for Colin Lloyd's group. They're now 1.8 back.
And as they continue to push here with 2 minutes to go.
Report here. Look at the 916 on the right rear. When he goes around turn 8, we'll get a great vantage point and a little bit at turn 7. The chain guard, which is a plastic piece that covers the sprocket and the chain from the front to the rear driver on the engine side, right there by the right rear tire, you can see right into all the metal pieces and the chain spinning off the rear gear. It has come off for Jared Clark, and sadly that'll be a DQ in the scale line for losing equipment on circuit. What a heartbreaker for the round 1 winner, who is tracking right now for a top 5 row starting position. A minute 20 plus 2 laps to go now. Isambard, Hodgson, Lloyd, and Hodgson, by the way, tracked down Isambard at 10th last lap. He is hot on his heels right now.
Leaders continuing to battle out. Isambard and Hodgson going through and continuing to push in through the front sector of this track. Look at this here. Isambard very dialed in at the moment. You can see just head down, not looking back, really going through. Hodgson is still trying to put some pressure on, though, and just right there in the mix, but a quarter second back, under a minute to go here as they come down towards turn 7, towards turn 8. And you can see every time they come towards turn 8, what's caught my eye is that Hodgson is peeking that inside of turn 8 and kind of thinking, is there a move here now? Is there a move here now? Not necessarily trying to force the move, but if it's there, wants to take it. And the move into 11, though, is going to be taken. That 927 Hodgson down the inside. Isambard leaving plenty of racing room there. And as they come through down towards 14, 15, 16, here we go. Out through 16 will settle in, come across the line, and they will get a bonus lap here. 3 laps to go as they come across the line. Plenty of time left on the clock for them. 3 laps to go, but Isambard has to figure it out in the next couple laps.
Davin Roberts able to get by Hudson Brown there in turn 16. Good catch as well by the crew. Now it is a little bit of a gap, some breathing room for Colin Lloyd to try and get away and lock in 3rd place and a 2nd row inside lane starting spot for the final. You can see the margin there, about a half second back to Roberts in the red and white, Brown, and then McGabriel. Now the teammates are going to line up and they're going to freight train Davin into 8. Here's Hudson. Gabriel's going to send him a little bit further, make sure he gets by as well, and he does. And now Buscalia gets a chance and a little sniff of the draft once again. Still Chase Adams, Jared Clark, Andrew Hamill lurking back there in 9th and 8th, 9th, and 10th. Cash Perkins up to 11th. A couple spots up the board for Henry Taylor and Enzo Vidmontian, both of them up about 9 into the early teens. 14th last time by for Enzo. 11th for 12th for Henry Taylor. And as we go to the line this time, now we'll get it. 2 to go Alan Isambard and Rocket Racing Company, the Miami, Florida-based group, versus Oliver Hodgson and Comp Kart as they roll through the infield. A little wide there for Isambard. Not much you can do into 6 because it's still so fast, especially with the extra grip, but the radii of the corner really invites a lot of high speed. The same to 7, but here's a big pass zone. Let's see if Isambard covers. He's going to move over. Hodgson will follow, and at the last second, he'll open back up. Hope for a mistake, and he gets it. Isambard, big moment in the brake zone as he loses traction and goes wide. Oliver back through.
Isambard was trying to be really cheeky there into 8 and just force Hodgson outside there, and Oliver was very smart about it and just set it up. A little bit of patience there, and that has opened up a kart length or more gap at the moment. Call it 2 kart lengths as they come through, and Isambard will now have to fight as they come through 15 through 16. Can he close the gap here to the line? No is the answer, but look at the Hornet's Nest back behind. The 926 in here, the 921, the 915 all in the mix. White flag is out here as things continue to shuffle around, and this back in the back is a great battle coming through. Top 2 trying to settle it in. One last passing opportunity really coming up here for them. Actually, sorry, 2 passing opportunities, 8 and then turn 11.
And I would call it 3, really. Turn 16 is still a big moment. Turn 15, we've seen some surprise moves. Oliver Hodgson, I've been a big fan of how he's been able to make, wow, oh, we got one off. Big moment there. That is James Brassel. Brassel is out in turn 3 into the dust cloud. It does that blow across into 7 and affect anyone else. Doesn't look like it. Hodgson, you saw him, how animated it was. It probably was the most energy I saw from him. And again here in this run out of 10, getting quickly behind the wheel to tuck his head out of the air and also check over his shoulder for the gap behind. Now down to a car length. Does Isambard send it? I wouldn't think so in the pre-final, and he won't. It'll be Oliver Hodgson out of turn 16 that will score the pre-final win in KA Stars. Isambard second, Lloyd third, Gabriel fourth, Roberts fifth, Brown sixth, holding back the cavalry of Clark and Adams and Hamlin. More dust kicked up as the battles continue to the final couple of turns here on the last sector. Enzo Vidmontien, he got up to 14th, he'll end 15th. That's still an 8-spot improvement. Same to Henry Taylor, he ends up 6, 1 spot back, drops to 13th off the or across the line from 19th. How about the run as well? Further back, even David Baker, 35th. Tail end Charlie to 20th. We saw him go out at the end of Heat 2 yesterday. Great charge up the field for the 922 Fox & Son Karting LN Kart. So 36 rolled off the grid. They all made it through the first couple laps. Frederick Manning and Aiden Galway, we captured them together in turn 8 on lap 2, and then only one more, or a couple more, unable to finish in it. So Jared Clark here does have the sprocket guard on. No chain guard, though, for the 916. Unfortunate for him. However, everyone else in front seems to be all clear. We'll wait for official confirmation as we go down to the scales and conclude the on-track activity from the morning section.
Let's go down here on the scale line with Mick Gabriel. Mick, I mean, it's been a good weekend for you. This has probably been the best you've ran all weekend. I mean, what have you guys kind of found overnight?
Just kind of getting the setup closer. Started off a little off with driving and some other things and setup, but kind of got set up more to what I was winning with last year in these conditions. So, yeah, then just working on racecraft and getting forward.
You talk about, you know, going back to kind of how you guys were last year in conditions like this. What are the conditions like right now? What's the track like?
Felt a little greasy that time. Not quite as much grip as earlier, but we'll see how it changes later with the cloud cover and such. So, excited for the final.
It's interesting because some drivers are saying that it's actually adding more grip instead of getting greasier. Obviously, the tires are going away. Is that, you think, the biggest factor?
Yeah, I think the tires just going away a little bit in the rear, and got to keep tweaking on it, but I'm confident in our package. So,
thanks, Mick.
No problem, man.
Mick Gabriel closing the gap to the front along with his teammate Hudson Brown. They will have a good vantage point of the final few spots at the top of the leaderboard when they return to close out the afternoon on-track action with their main. Short break in the activity for us, though. We'll be back at the top of the hour as we kick off pre-race activities for the Mazda Motorsports Pro Show with OKN Jr. on the racetrack. We'll see you then here as we take a quick break for our hardworking team and the Stars crew as well.